Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Deepak Mukhi, and I'm the Director of FICCI Maharashtra and Goa State Council. A very warm welcome to all these esteemed speakers and delegates to today's webinar on transforming youth skills for the future, a role of government and private sector. This is being organized on the eve of World Youth Skills Day, which happens July. As you might be aware that in 2014, the UN General Assembly declared 15 July as the World Youth Skills Day to basically celebrate the strategic importance of equipping young people with skills for employment, decent work, and entrepreneurship. And since then, World Youth Skills Day has provided a unique opportunity for dialogue between young people, technical and vocational education and training institutions, various private firms, employers, workers, organizations, and policy makers. And some of them are actually present with us in form of our speakers as well as delegates. As we all know that this year's youth skill is taking place amid the concentrated efforts towards the socio-economic recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic. That basically is interconnected with multiple challenges on the job front. While pandemic has in some way accelerated several transitions in the world of work, so to say, and it was already in some way due to the digital age was happening pre-pandemic as well, but it just accelerated everything post-pandemic or during pandemic, and this has really added sort of layers of uncertainty regarding what kind of skills or competencies will be in demand in future, and how the youth will overcome that challenge. So today's program's objective is basically to showcase some of the work which is being done by private sector in the skilling domain, how these private sectors have overcome various challenges, collaborated with government entities, and delivered, in terms of skilling and as well as making the youth employable. And this is something which is happening pan India, and a lot of effort is being put in by various stakeholders to transform the youth skills for the future and make them future job ready. So with that idea, we put together this panel and thought that we can touch upon areas of skilling, reskilling, upskilling, and since these institutions have contributed, not just institution but even individually here, people have contributed in terms of strengthening the vocational training system, developing the skilling infrastructure, especially in public-private partnership mode, and also use CSR for skilling for the betterment of youth. So some of these ideas will be shared by our panelists today, and I'm sure everyone will get some sort of inspiration, some sort of learning from their ground experience over 20 plus 30 years of experience, and that can basically contribute towards development of skilling ecosystem across the country. So before I invite our panelists or the speakers today, presenters today, I would like to invite Ms. Temina Khanwala, who's chairperson for FICCI Flow Mumbai chapter. Flow is a FICCI ladies organization, has been doing phenomenal work in skilling women, across vertical span India, and I would like to invite her to have a few comments on how Flow is working on the skilling area, and then we will move on to experience sharing by the private sector. Both large corporates and startups and development partners are with us, so I'm sure this will be an exciting one. Temina ji is currently director of Paramount Commercial Private Limited, and she also is a co-founder of Casa Amrosa, and she has initiated and executed several projects for marginalized women, including the skilling ones. And She has also founded various women networking group and actively involved in Rotary's work. So over to you, Tahmina ji.
Thank you and a very good afternoon to everyone. And thank you to Deepak Mukhi, Director MSc, for inviting me to be a part of this esteemed panel. The Flow platform has always focused on women empowerment. This has been possible for the past many years through the various skill development initiatives undertaken by Flow, both in the metros and villages. Skilling has been imparted to mostly marginalized section in traditional and non-traditional occupations. We have this year taken a financial, digital, and marketing skilling for women and have adopted 5 villages in Kajat where students and women will be trained. The government has many schemes for empowering youth, but they need to be job linked. Today, many certified youth, despite having certification, are jobless. There needs to be an interface with private and government sector where these youth can be employed. The Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship has devised many schemes for skilling women and promoting entrepreneurship among women under Kaushal Bharat Skill India platform and others. The objective is women empowerment. In order to make women self-dependent, there is a need to promote skill development among women in non-traditional works like electrician, plumbers, etc. Women can be organized into different professional groups so that there is improvement in their bargaining power. Platforms like Digital India should be used for marketing and branding purposes and to establish linkages with corporates, markets, and consumers. In addition to government efforts, NGOs and other institutions should provide employable skills and training to women to help them find alternative and dignified occupations to earn decently. NGOs working for the empowerment of women need to take interventions on livelihood development options related to the market and information. Policies and guidelines should be made in such a way that it is easy for women entrepreneurs to get credit facilities. Government should promote creation of self-help group by women. There is a need for industry-specific targets for women's employment and motivate their implementation by force. Tax benefits should be given to companies that provide employment to 30% women workers. Partnership with private and non-government organizations should be strengthened to boost skill development. Focus needs to be more on future jobs and industry-oriented courses for women. Entrepreneurship incentives, awards, and linkage to microfinance, both in the organized and unorganized sector, needs to be widened so that women come forth and become financially independent. Government should consider concessions to women skilling under the CSR scheme for the private sector. Private sector should introduce mentorship training for women, where government can grant them some tax rebate for the mentors. Private sector should be given some tax rebate if they do direct buying from the unorganized sector. This will encourage a participation and cut out middlemen commissions, which are a major percentage. The government should have women's skilling centers, maybe in municipal schools, after schooling hours, or on holidays, where job-oriented courses are taught to marginalized sections of society. There can be a minimum fee charge, so there is an attendance. Funds in the form of microcredit should be raised and dispersed for marketing of new skill-based innovative products and services. These include branding, social media marketing, catalogs, exhibition, trade fairs, e-commerce, e-payments, development of app for aggregators to market these products, working capital requirements to buy raw materials, inputs, etc. These would motivate women to start their own small enterprise or sales outlet to sell their own products with the help of self-help group. Most of the organized sector today manufacture their produce from the unorganized sector and only label it under their brand name. This is a way that creates employment but does not give recognition to the skills of the unorganized sections. Government should ensure that in this module, the unorganized also gets benefit as those in the private sector. Government should encourage banks to hold financial literacy workshop for women and educate women on the available financial schemes and benefits. Training and skills should also be followed up with provision of vocational training and opportunities of employment in industry. For this, it is necessary to know what type of skill force is required by industry in each state and get an estimate of the annual requirement of skilled women in each industry. Once this is done, NGO can tie up with industry association of large promoters of industry to chart out relevant training courses for women. Capacity of trainers in industrial training institutes and other professional institutes can be strengthened, and new trainers can be appointed to provide women-centric training courses in skills required by industries in each state. New skill development courses can also be designed in keeping with emerging trends. State governments can provide grants and other forms of financial assistance to promote such courses. Industries can then absorb such trained women on an annual basis. Specially delivery mechanisms have to be developed to suit women's specific needs like internet or mobile-based platforms, offline lectures and demonstrations, flexible afternoon session or flexi hours, specially trained women trainers, security, etc. Coupled with some assurance of remuneration and self-employment after the certification. NGOs should raise funds to organize exhibitions and buyer-sellers meet to enable skilled women to showcase their skills and sell their products and services in big cities and semi-urban areas. Thank you very much for your patient hearing. And now I hand over to Deepak to take this forward.
Thank you, Tamina ji. A very good wish list. I think a lot of things are being partly done, and I'm sure some can still be taken up. So thank you very much for sharing that ideas on what we all can do together for this skilling ecosystem. Thank you very much. Moving on, may I now request Mr. Sandeep Kumar, who's the General Manager of CSR from Indo-Count Industries, to give his perspective. He has over 25 years of working experience of managing and leading the CSR function of reputed corporates like Tata Motors, Reliance Industries, from Crompton Greaves. And he has not only worked in corporate, but has also worked in various international development organizations like ActionAid and USAID, supported projects and executed them in India. So, and currently in his role as head of CSR, he looks into some part of the skilling as well. So I would request Mr. Sandeep Kumar to give his presentation. Over to you, Mr. Kumar.
Thank you, Mr. Mukhi. Good afternoon to everyone. I'll just try and share my presentation. Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, very good afternoon to everyone. There's a lot of experience I want to share in this skilling space because right from the beginning of my career, I've been involved in various capacities, to work on this space because this was a developmental challenge when we started our career. And it was just beginning to grow at that time. And so I've been through the whole process, at various stage of the development, which has happened in the skilling space, which is now more of a challenge from a perspective that new age requirements are very different than what it used to be. And so we have to change our ways and means of thinking and doing the things. I'll just try and take you through, what our organization does, which is my current organization, SETCO, Indo-Count Industry. And this is something very interesting in the sense that there are a lot of experience which has come in last 4-5 years of experience that we had with respect to skilling in textile sector. Textile sector, as you know, it's one of the biggest sector which can hold a lot of people for jobs and all. Next to automobile sector, which is again a big area. And I have experience of that, working when I was working with Tata Motors. So that was more of a technical. This is more of a managerial and the job skills which are required to deliver some kind of services in the job market to get employed. So I'll just take you through my presentation, and in between I'll try and talk about the different experience, because see, largely what happens, one has to look onto the skilling space from what is available in rural India and what is available in semi-urban area and what is available in larger, bigger cities, metro cities, urban area. So the conglomerate difference is there, and accordingly the things changes, because finally it boils down to how the person is moving forward in his life or her life, and employing through employment or through by giving employment or through by entrepreneurship, they are moving further ahead. Now, one of the key feature which basically is a very important point in whole skilling space is largely the people from the rural area, they don't want to migrate out for job into bigger cities or bigger areas or places which are very far off from their places. And so this has a lot of implication on job market itself. We all come to know, and we all are knowing this, there's a lot of attrition rate even in those lower levels job opportunities which are there. So the industry is also facing this difficulty, apart from employment seeking youth, because youth is the future of the country. One has to think through it in terms of developing stepwise process through which one reaches to meet its career aspirations. So I'll just try and take you through the presentation, and meanwhile we'll keep on talking about it. So Indocount is a textile-based industry, and we are one of the largest supply. It's an export-oriented company, the largest supplier to the Walmart from India, one of the largest supplier from Walmart from India, and we deal with top of bed segment only. So we are a very specialized, focused luxury segment, and we're dealing with those products and exporting it. Now in India also we have some products which are coming, and the brand is being built here. So that's how it is. And the textile industry, the whole supply chain, or the value chain of textile starts from the farmer. So, apart from what we do at our plant level, we have to do a lot of work at the farmer level also, which may or may not be coming into the skilling space as such as it is looked into. But we have been working with them because they are one of our very, very important stakeholder and sustainable partner for the entire textile chain. So that is also one has to look into. Only the certification or the training which is done at a center is to be called as skilling, or something which needs to be taken at the grassroots level and try and change the scenario there. That also can be considered, because that's not very clearly defined. It's still by and large institution based skilling that is being talked about. I'm talking about the experiences of many other things also. So this is our company, and we have 4 factories located at Kolhapur in Maharashtra, and recently we acquired one of the factories at Vapi in Gujarat. So these are the 5 areas, and close to these areas we work directly with the communities there. Apart from that, there is a larger base for our work, which includes also places like cotton growing areas of Maharashtra and Madhya Pradesh. I'll come to that later. And we have an elaborate CSR program, which is being implemented through a special purpose vehicle created, which is called Indocount Foundation, and through which all the programs are being carried forward. And the key focus areas have been health, education, skill development, economic empowerment of communities. And basically here I'll talk about a little more on the women's empowerment program that we have done in this skilling space. We do have agriculture and livelihood. As I was telling, farmers are at the base of the textile value chain. So we have to work with farmers. and when they improve, their product improve, and so our product also improves. So that's how it is. And then we have also worked with promotion of inclusive development, because a lot of physically challenged or mentally challenged or blind people, they all are there. We have to take them through an inclusive development approach and paradigm, and so we have promoted that. And also there is a focus now on sports promotion, because a lot of youths are coming forward towards this, and there is a larger scope of involving youth to take them through a process of building their career in sports domain, and at the same time, win laurels for their state, their district, their country, or at international level. So that's where the whole focus is. Uh, this is largely talking about, and as you can see, there are 7 to 8 goals which we are directly targeting on the SDG front, and we are contributing towards that. Last year, if I talk about, and these are the main thing that we have worked on and achieved, and I'll just specifically mention the point that I was trying to say in the beginning, whether the program that we undertake with the farmers on the ground can be called skilling or not very clear, because it's largely livelihood improvement program. But it has been very, very successful in the projects that we have undertaken in Maharashtra and last year in Madhya Pradesh with tribal farmers, women farmers of Madhya Pradesh, and they have increased their income by many means, and they have a better, feel and status in the society because of this. So I think those areas also needs to be taken care of, because largely what happens in our whole youth ecosystem, large part of population still don't get covered because they are in remote areas, rural areas. So those areas also needs to be covered. As you can see, there are differences which we have tried to make in their lives by helping them, supporting them, taking them through training and giving them inputs to improve their agriculture. So, and lastly, I'm just telling you something which may be considered as skill development, because we are in the process to develop, the process is on to develop a center for excellence in cotton farming. We do have a lot of center for excellence in the country for many other products, because you can understand, for orange, we know Nagpur. The center for excellence is there in Nagpur for orange. Nasik is known for the grape. Similarly, there are many. Now, we do not have anything on cotton, which by and large takes care of a lot of people's life and livelihood across the country, across the value chain, across the globe, and it makes our life better. So there has to be something which has to be done on that level, and so we are working with the state government and Dr. PDKV, Punjab Rao Deshmukh University, Agriculture University, to develop this center for excellence, which will be a training center basically for the farmer to excel in the cotton farming. So maybe this can come in the skilling space later on. We do not have that view clear as of now, but it is for the educational purposes. I'll just quickly skip these, come to the skilling space. This is last year's impact that we have created through our various programs. And these are a summary of basically the impact that we have been making in the field. I'll just skip this, come to the skilling experience. Now, skilling, we started in 2016, actually. And this was a need of the hour at that time for our industry also, as well as many other industries which were there in Kolhapur. And a lot of requirement for trained hand was there. And so skilling as a process was initiated in collaboration with ILFS at that time. Unfortunately, during last 2 to 3 years time, ILFS had a bad scenario on their many other heads, many other accounts, and it has to be shut down. And so this program was shut down because of that. But we had a very good experience which we have managed through this program, and it served the purpose of the people in terms of getting employment, getting more of a women. I'll share that experience, because a lot of women folk came for this training program, and they got immediately employed also, and they're doing very well in their space wherever they are. including our company also. So once we are very clear about the job opportunities right at the beginning when we start the program, it becomes more of a success then, basically, because you know that this people are going to work in this area for this kind of requirement. And so accordingly, you can build on the whole training course material and everything, the process, and they learn and customize to the requirement of the industry. That's how it helped. And so this all started with our assessment, which was done in that area. And, this came as one of the area where we can do this activity. So we have undertaken this. Uh, so so all the facilities which were required to do this training program was created. And this program ran for almost 4 to 5 years. And each year there were a lot of people. Approximately around more than 5,000 people were trained, and almost 60% or 65% people were placed also for the job. The rest other people just dropped out after the training, and we could not get to know where they are, what they are doing, because possibly they have moved into some other space, other areas. So this might be an experience of many other people also who will be sharing their experiences. So this training program used to be of 45 days, and a very good infrastructure was created for this purpose only. And so they started feeling very good because they were from the rural hinterland. They had not an experience of this kind and this was very important because when they get placed for the job, the sudden change which happens in the overall atmosphere because of the factory setting and everything, it becomes a little difficult for them to adjust to the situation. So there was a requirement of creating such a facility which can make them change also, make them feel first, and then move towards their changing their lives and lifestyle, basically towards that. And so the whole program was conducted with a very good sense of job placement, and they started to get, just immediately after completing their training and the assessment which was done, and including everything else, we focused on the personality development part because that was very, very important point. Apart from the training which is specifically required for that particular job, there was more focus on developing their soft skill, and we focus on that so that their personality becomes better, and it helped a lot in turning them into better human being, actually better human skilled a person. So that's how we did this. And so they were earning 10,000 rupees to 15,000 rupees per month, as per the industry standard locally at that level. And women particularly, because they started to get a lot of the status in their family and the society improved drastically because of. And one woman come from one village, they become a role model for many others. So others also started coming in. This way, in the place where we have worked, almost we have covered a lot of people. So slowly it also started tapering down in terms of number because those who were available, they were already absorbed. This is how the women are working in the textile sector. This is garment checking, as a final check of the garment before packaging. This is supposed to be done, and they were trained in that particular skill, and so they are doing this in their job. So that's very good because they were feeling very close to what they wanted to do in their life, and this has really helped them to do this. These are the numbers of women basically over a period of time that came through this training program forward, and they almost 65% of them got placed also. And some of them also started their own entrepreneurship journey. So we supported them to start doing that basically because in a way it will also help a lot of other people who will be trained and they will be placed with them to move further in life. So the both end we have to work simultaneously actually. The key learning that we had, I talked about it largely in my discourse, but this is very clear that people wants to go for those skills which does not, do not want to go for those skills which does not fetch them local nearby jobs. So that's something which has to be kept in mind while, curating a skilling program. Initially, a lot of people came forward to join the course with a lot of enthusiasm and all. They started working on it. Slowly, the enthusiasm was observed to follow a downtrend after 4 to 5 years, because what happens is also a change in their own thinking because of working in a factory setup, and then trying to manage their life and other priorities of life, and it becomes a little difficult for them at times. And so this information used to flow back to the community, and so there was a little slowdown in number of people. Eventually, in last 2 to 3 years, we have seen this trend going little high, in the sense people are not coming forward for this, and this is a major challenge that we are facing as of now. And I talked about in absence of a clear picture of how to move up. So after even joining, one has to look at it from a different angle. And so if their career aspirations are met, and made it clear in front of them that this is a way, the ladder is there, and you have to move forward like this. So it becomes easy for them to settle down properly there. So uh, most of them don't understand this, and this leads to a lot of attrition problem at most of the places, including the experience I have with working on the retail space with Reliance on a huge scale. And this was a problem, actually, we realized this. And to just summarize this, new areas of skilling which is coming, because now the things are changing globally. We also are changing here. And this needs to change there needs to be change in our thinking about skilling in the new domain which is upcoming. And these are few of them. Basically, climate change related opportunities are going to be high in number in days to come. And I just put on some of the example. There's a waste management ecosystem which is coming up in a big way in India at many places. Plastic collection and recycling of new product and this and that. So those areas needs to be brought into the skilling space, and people need to be trained in that, because there is a lot of job opportunities which will keep on coming there. I have talked about tree plantation, particularly because now the way things are changing and the way we are seeing that effect of climate change on our life, everything requires a lot of efforts on various fronts. One of the key areas is tree plantation. In Mumbai, we we came to know from BMC that a lot of places they are just developing this Miyawaki plantation. Now, Miyawaki plantation is a wonderful way to develop the green area, and we do not have people trained in that sphere. There is a need to do that. We have to create those space, where people can be trained in doing a particular set of activities which is required. So going forward, this is going to be a big area, actually, because now that everybody is facing this difficulty, it's going to come in a big way everywhere where there's a space. We have to convert it into a green land. So that's an area where a lot of skilling will be required, and the job opportunities. Then safe drinking water micro projects, small project. We have Kent and all, everyone going across Eureka Forbes and this and that everywhere. But there are a lot of other players also who are doing micro small project, maintenance of equipments and all. Those needs to be in those areas. That there has to be people who can work in those space. And equipments and all maintenance is a big area, actually, because we have a huge population to be covered in this. In rural area also, this is a requirement. So this is one of the area which I think that's going to be a very challenging one, but at the same time a lot of scope to do a lot of skilling activity. Rainwater harvesting structure and maintenance and repair of existing ponds, and the whatever things which were created earlier, those are now old. Those structures are old. There has to be some process through which they have to be restored, they have to be repaired, and has to be maintained. We have to create those lot of resource for future generation. And we are already facing this difficulty of water everywhere. The problem of plenty of water now in rainfall, very less water during summer to drink. So between these two lines, we have to create something good, which will take us through in a future, from a future perspective. And that's where rainwater harvesting can be a very big area which needs to, because specifically for those purposes, people are not trained. There are engineering aspects of it, which is being trained by technical institute. But there are a lot of other aspects which is supposed to be done by people at lower level. They need to be trained, because then only they can manage and maintain this. Every housing society, every houses needs to have the rainwater harvesting structure. We don't have that ecosystem today. We do not have people to work on it. The existing houses also needs to do that. The new houses obviously needs to do that, because it's part of the act also. So those areas are coming in big way. We all know battery ecosystem is going to develop like anything in India. Everything is going to be converted into e-vehicle now. 5 years down the line, we'll find all of the vehicles are plying on road are e-vehicle. There has to be a lot of ecosystem needs to develop for this, because maintenance is anyway part of it, and also the selling and other aspect, because entrepreneurs can be builded on this area, because this is going to be upcoming area in coming days. Lastly, I have felt this, and that's how I put it here. We have many MSW college across India. We have many social work guys working on the field, but we do not have any institute in India which can train people at the grassroots level. We need to create that space here, because a lot of rural guys needs to be trained in that, so that they can work back in their own village and become a resource there also. So this is an area which needs a little more careful understanding. And once we have those kind of ecosystem developed, then the whole system works properly. The MSW will be working at a different level. Then people in between will be working with this, and then actually the groundwork force which is there on the ground. So that's how it is. This is a big area which is going to be required in future. So this is all I have in my mind to share. If I have any question, I'll take it later. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sandeep ji, for sharing your thoughts on how, in its own way, IndoCount is helping, on the skilling and other sectors through CSR initiative. Your key learnings, including the proximity preference, the enthusiasm going down after a certain period of time, or importance of soft skills are very important, learnings out of your execution of these projects. And surely, thank you very much for sharing those new areas of skilling as well, because they are indeed actually in demand. And a great idea on MSW side. I think someone from Latur had messaged on the chat box that you need to train people in the Latur area. Why not? That could be one of the areas, and it can be across Maharashtra, across India. So thank you very much, and I request everyone participant both in YouTube and here, if they want to ask any question, please do send this. So we will take up some questions towards the end. In the interest of time, I'm just moving on to our second presentation, and I would like to invite Dr. Leena Deshpande, who's the Associate Vice President HR and Head CSR Bharat Forge, for her presentation. Dr. Deshpande has over 7 years of experience in human resource management, skill development and CSR, and under skill development initiative of Bharat Forge, she had set up an industrial training institute, ITI near Pune, which is now considered as one of the best ITI in India and a unique model of public-private partnership. And she has also organized several skill development programs for the principals, faculty members, because trainer is another area which needs to be looked into to upgrade their skills, and also for the rural youth to increase their employability. So Leena ji, over to you.
Officials from FICCI, then my co-panelist, and dear participants, warm welcome to this session on transforming youth skills for the future, role of private sector and government. I represent private sector. I work with Bharat Forge And so would like to share with you the experience and the experiments Bharat Forge has done in skill development. Before I describe the initiatives that Bharat Forge had taken for their own employees as well as outside in the communities, I would just like to give you little background as far as skill development is concerned. India had set up skill ministry, and India at 7, C.K. Prahlad, who was heading the team of CII on education, skills, and other areas, HRD, he said at that time that empowerment of the people will be the key. And so there was massive plan of training 500 million people in different skills and 200 million world-class graduates as such. We failed to achieve this huge target, but a lot of momentum had come with this thought process. And we have demographic dividend, as we say, that our India has average age of Indian 28 compared to Chinese or European countries, American country, America and Japan. In Japan, it is 40 to 45 years. So this is definitely a demographic dividend. We have a lot of young population, and young population has to be trained in different areas. And one day, India can be the skill provider to the whole world with this young population. But still the fact remains that we hardly spend money, that is 0.1 to 2% of GDP on vocational education training. Of course, now the trend has changed. There is promotion of startups, promotion of different skill centers, and a lot of infrastructure India has raised towards skill development. Many changes that are taking place as far as industrial scenario is concerned. For example, I represent manufacturing sector. Under Atmanirbhar Bharat, our Honorable Prime Minister said that we need to produce the things, India has to produce the things that are required in India. Just to give an example, for defense products, we used to import all defense products, including guns and other equipment from foreign countries. And now, today, the situation is that private sector has entered into this area, and companies like my company, Bharat Forge, they have started producing guns, they have started producing other equipment that is required for our defense. So this trend has moved slightly from globalization to deglobalization, that is producing everything in that country itself. India requires certain things, we need to produce it here only, and for that matter, lot of boost needs to be given to MSMEs as well as startups, and for that purpose, our youth needs to be trained. The second development that has taken place in the last few years, that is digitization. In manufacturing sector, it is assumed that everything is produced by the machines. No doubt it is produced by the machines, but Industry 4.0 that says about Internet of Things, then artificial intelligence, machine learning, and there will be manless offload in near time, and we need to be prepared. So the skills that are required for manufacturing setup perhaps may change, and what we think that metallurgists are required for steel industry or for forging industry, or say mechanical engineers are required. At the same time, equal number of IT engineers, they are also required, because a lot of digitization has taken place in many large-scale manufacturing industries. Innovation has become the buzzword That is for startups and for anything. Innovation is the key. New ideas, they need to be generated. And our experience tells us that in Bharat Forge, we have launched different learning initiatives, and only learned people, only skilled people, they can be innovative people because they know many areas. When we talk about learning, we talk about knowledge base. If you have required knowledge base, then only innovations can happen. And so if innovations is the key word, then definitely the culture of learning, culture of training is absolutely necessary. And one more thing, the way of doing business now is changing. As I have told you, technology is changing. At the same time, there is no surprise as such if medium scale or even large scale industries, they have joined any startup for any particular product, and looking after supply chain management, and startups are looking after their innovative products and brands. And so the multi-skilling is the buzzword, is the keyword in the present situation. So in short, to summarize all these changes, at what level changes are taking place? At technology level, new technology is sweeping in. Then it is manufacturing also, it is IT, service industry, you name any industrial sector, technology, new technology is sweeping in, digitization is taking place. Regulations are changing. What do we mean by that? Labor laws are changing. They are reform like, and they can be more industry friendly. That is now seen by the government. Recently, I have heard one government officer speaking about apprenticeship scheme in the industries. They said now we have become so liberal that many maps, such kind of schemes, we give lot of help to MSMEs for apprenticeship programs, and apprenticeship is nothing but skill development program. Then business processes are changing, as I have told you. Organizations and people, they are changing. This present generation, millennial generation, their aspirations are different. Then their expectations from the life are different. Then product and markets are changing. Different products, different process as far as marketing is concerned, that is sweeping in, and that is definitely the impact is on the economy. In case of India, we aspire to be $5 trillion economy by 2030, and our march, our journey is towards this goal. And so lot of boost to skilling that has been given. Lot of cooperation is given by the government, and how it is given, that I will definitely explain in the next slides. But we as industry partners, we need to take advantage of it. And the most important thing, industries, they need to collaborate with educational institutes in foreign countries. We often see that educational institutes, they guide the industry, what new technology is coming in. And in India, unfortunately, still the industries, they use new technologies first, and then the academia responds to all these technologies, or it has to be exactly the reverse situation, that academia should guide the industries, that what are the new trends that have been coming. And for that matter, industries, they need to collaborate with academia. We always say in Bharat Forge, since it's a world's leading forging company, and we are into defense, aerospace, turbocharger, and in many other areas in e-vehicles and e-mobility, we had started preparing ourselves long back in the year 2003 for all these new changes. Perhaps it will be quite surprising for you to understand is that we started in 2003 and our chairman said that only learning organizations will thrive, will survive in next 20 to 25 years. Because learning culture that promotes innovations in the organization and the new product development happens if innovative spirit is there in the organization. So we had prepared learning pyramid and tried to give vertical mobility to all the employees, those who are working at shop floor as operators, those who are in the middle management level, those who are engineers, and we collaborated. The point that I would like to make here, that we collaborated with different educational institutes, signed MOUs with them, and prepared curriculum, sometimes tailor-made courses for our employees. So industries, they have very big role to play. That is not only financial help, not only just collaboration, but industries, they need to help to design curriculums. That is, what is the present trend? What is the present technology? Industries know better, and definitely their help can be taken to prepare the curriculums, short-term courses, and even in formal diploma and other courses. As I have told you that we had collaborated with the University of Warwick, BITS Pilani, then IIT Mumbai, then DIET, that is Defense Institute for Technology, for different courses, and we had imparted education to our own employees by not charging single pie to them and develop learning culture. And the same learning culture, it reflected through our CSR activities. And even when CSR Act was not in existence, 2007, we had signed MOU with Government of Maharashtra, and we told them that we would like to set up Industrial Training Institute, and that will be the model institute. And by seeing that institute, perhaps all government ITIs, they will also revamp or reconstruct the whole thing, right from their infrastructure, right from their machineries, the kind of facilities they will have. And so in 2007, by signing MOU with Government of Maharashtra, right from building, right from machinery, we had set up this ITI. And this ITI was for the rural youth, where 5 machine trades were started. And the reputation of this ITI is 100% placement in the industry. Believe me, not a single person we had taken for Bharat Forge, not a single student for Bharat Forge. All the students, they get absorbed in Sakand industrial belt, and we are happy about it, that we can produce quality students, can give them education not only in their particular trade, but right from communication. We have communication lab in our Khed ITI, where all these students, they go through communication courses, because for rural youth, the first problem is when they enter into the organization about communication. And so English conversation, mannerism, etiquettes, and how they have to, they should get ready for the employment, that we had seen in these labs, and that really helped. Bharat Forge is also partner with different ITIs, and we have given our contribution in developing those ITIs. For example, ITI Bhor, then ITI at Malegaon. Recently, we have adopted ITI at Karzat, that is Ahmednagar district. And we not only help for infrastructure, but for quality training also. As Deepakji had mentioned, we had conducted training program, 3 days residential training program for ITI principals and also for ITI instructors. And the objective was the quality of training need to get increased in every ITI. principals are playing such a big role today, ITI principals, that they need to get trained in different aspects. That can be financial aspect, because ITIs are receiving lot of funds from World Bank, from government, and how to make projects, how to design projects, how to spend money on those projects, and how to develop their infrastructure. For everything, probably that kind of training was required, and we had imparted that training. There are many short vocational courses that we had started and that help the children, the students, right from JCB training, driving, housekeeping, dairy, farming, security, welding, and fabrication, and all. And these short courses, they had helped the rural youth to get an employment as such. So these are the pictures from our own ITIs. You can see the setup. We have CNC machines in that ITI, well-equipped library, well-equipped communication lab as such, and industries, such kind of initiatives for the society under CSR, they definitely help, because under CSR, skill development is one of the areas as per the Schedule 7 of CSR Act, and that talks about development of skills for women, for youth, and for everybody, not only from the people from urban area, but people from rural area. Under CSR, we are working in 100 villages on 5 indicators, and we have tie-ups with Agriculture Development Trust, Krishi Vignan Kendra, and we are training young farmers for in different areas. It is not just farming, but for dairy, goat rearing, and there are so many areas, 15 areas we could identify. And the villages where we are working, we have in fact motivated youth and farmers to take training in these 2 institutes as such. And the results are fantastic, because when you provide water and proper training to rural youth for as far as farming is concerned, then the magic happens. In many of our villages, reverse migration has started, and rural youth, they have preferred to be in rural area itself. So industries, besides their own business, they can do much more in society. As I have told you, learning culture is the speciality of Kalyani Group, speciality of Bharat Forge. And the same learning culture, the skill culture, it has to be percolated, it has to go in the society also. And for that matter, we had taken a lot of pains in different areas as such. For young engineers, we are training them for the employability by imparting soft skill training. We have tie-ups with different engineering colleges. For example, COEP, we had trained their young engineers, budding engineers in soft skill area. And not only that, this is our, you can see it in the picture, this is our research and development center. We have set up labs right from 3D printing, and it's a world-class kind of setup. And in this center, we had imparted training to the principals and instructors, so that they need to learn that what is going on outside, what kind of research and development activities are on, and what kind of technology is getting developed outside. So the point is that lot needs to be done as far as skill development is concerned. Industry has bigger role to play in it. As technology changes, the skill levels are changing, and so we industries should have tie-ups with different educational institutes as well as NGOs who are promoting girls' education, then who are promoting higher education of the poor students from rural and other areas, and under CSR. This is absolutely possible. Only thing, the commitment of the industry to this particular cause is required. Thank you so much, Vicky, for giving me this opportunity to share my views on skill development and share our initiatives, Bharat Push initiatives, in this particular webinar. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Leena ji, for sharing the initiative taken by the, Kalyani group. And I think someone asked one question about that what is the language used for instructing in all ITIs which you are supporting. So maybe you can just answer and then we move on.
Yeah. Language is Marathi, of course, because most of the students, they are from rural area, and Marathi is the language that is local language that is used while working in these ITIs. For principals, when we had conducted training programs, of course, it was combination of English and Marathi. And ultimately, language is a medium, and the content, intentions, they need to reach. And definitely, we take care that local language and the language that is preferable by the students is used.
Okay. Thank you very much. So we will now move on to our third presenter, another large group and plays a very big role, in terms of connecting several stakeholders. We have Mr. Ameya Vanchari, who's from Tata Strive. He's the head of operations, partnership, and technology. And the Tata Strive is a Tata Group initiative focused on skill development towards employability of the youth, and for a program to deliver significant impact, since technology plays a big role. Ameya is responsible for planning and implementing those technology solutions to support the capabilities and processes of Tata Strive. So may I request Ameya to give his presentation, please?
Thanks a lot, Mr. Mukhi. First of all, wishing everyone, all my fellow panelists and all the listeners, a very happy World Youth Skills Day, which is celebrated tomorrow, but that's the occasion why we all are here. So taking that opportunity. And what I'm going to do in the next maybe 15 minutes is share who we are, what we do, what are the kind of programs that we are doing, and look forward to comments, opportunities for collaboration, or any recommendations that anyone would have towards the end of the panel discussion. I would be happy to take questions. I'm going to share my screen and share the presentation, please. I hope it's visible to everyone. So before I begin the discussion, as all of you know, the Tata Group has and all the companies have been involved in various initiatives towards community development in and around the operations of these companies. But it was, I think, when Mr. Ramadurai, who was then advising the government on skill development, when he came back with after his stint with the government, he said that the group needs to have a concerted effort on skill development to reap the demographic dividends that Mrs. Deshpande was sharing, as well as the skill gap that was there in the country. And that was the thought with which Tata Strive was born. That was about 8 years ago in 2014, when Tata Strive was a concept. And in the last 8 years, we have the first centers came up in 2015. And in the last 7 years, we have scaled up across the country and impacted over 1 million lives across various set of programs that we do. Every day when we come to work, the vision that inspires us is providing enabling gainful livelihood for every aspirant. Right from the beginning, we have had a two-pronged approach. First, we directly skill the youth of that we work with for employment, entrepreneurship, or SHGs or community enterprises. Our focus is we work with the disadvantaged, we work with those who come from the economically weaker sections or disadvantaged communities, and have various programs to improve participation of women in the workforce and in entrepreneurship as well. The second prong of our approach is strengthening the skill development ecosystem, the assets that we create, the content that we create, the learnings that we gather. We are happy to share with everyone and or others who are part of the skill development ecosystem. And that is the second prong of our approach. Over the last, as I was mentioning, over the last 7 years since we started our operations, we have touched over 1 million lives, and this is largely through both these parts of our mission. Directly, we have skilled work with over 3 lakh millennials and their families, and across the skill development programs that we have, it is not just the hard skills but also the life skills, as well as all these families have experienced Tata Group values and ethos through our skill development programs. Of the youth that have been skilled through placement linked programs, more than 70% of them are placed across all companies, and within the group it's hardly 10%. We work with hundreds of other organizations across the country to place the learners that come to us. We have also trained trainers across various skill development partners of ours. Over 6,000 trainers have been trained and certified through train the trainer programs that we do, and they have in turn skilled over 6 lakh youth. We have started scaling up our entrepreneurship development initiative. 500 plus entrepreneurs have been created. And entrepreneurship is a very critical lever for delivering change and transforming the unemployed youth of our country, because jobs are limited. What was shared in the previous presentation, each industry is changing. Technology is impacting and bringing in efficiencies across all industries. And that is not going to increase the number of jobs significantly, but that will provide opportunities for the youth to become entrepreneurs or participate in the gig economy. And we have started taking baby steps in this direction in helping youth in that in this space as well. If you ask what is the way by which Tata Strive delivers impact, there are 4 ways by which we deliver impact. We run courses to enable jobs or livelihoods. So we run centers which are of different sizes, large, small, and we run centers within colleges as well. 150 plus locations in which we are present. So through these centers, we enable jobs and livelihoods. These are largely outcome focused programs or jobs placement linked programs. The second lever is enhancing employability. A lot of our learners who are in formal education, be it engineering, be it ITIs, be it diplomas, or even graduates, BSc, BCom, BA, or many of the other formal education courses, while they provide the certificate, they do not do a very effective job as far as employability is concerned. And that is the gap that we try to close through our programs that enhance employability. These programs are largely delivered in colleges, where we create courses, craft courses to improve employability through a lot of activity-based and project-based learning. The third lever through which Tata Strive delivers impact is creating awareness about careers and counseling the youth. One of the large issues that we face as a country is the lack of awareness that the youth have on various career opportunities or livelihood opportunities for that matter. And we have created a platform through which counseling can be delivered. We have a course for counselors to be developed as well, because the country lacks good trained counselors. So that is the intervention through which we have initiated creating a capability of counseling in the country, currently adopted across all our centers, across all the programs that we do and colleges that we are present in, but also it has been adopted by one of the states or the state of West Bengal in the last 7 to 8 months. And the last lever is improving the quality of skill development by working with various skill development partners and various players in the ecosystem, be it by sharing content, by sharing or training the trainers or the research and the learnings that we have. So those are the 4 levers through which Tata Strive delivers impact. Just elaborating, and this is just a depiction of those levers to bring in a little more clarity. These are courses for formal sector, entrepreneurship, and working with SHEs. Employability is largely in schools. Recently, we have also started working with schools as well. Our work has started with remote areas. State of Ladakh is where we have started working in schools, bringing in vocational education. We also, apart from counseling, we also create short courses that are taken by those who are just starting or getting into employment. And these are for horizontal fungible skills, be it life skills, workplace readiness skills, or even skills like cybersecurity or defensive driving. Those are delivered through short awareness courses that anyone can take. And when we talk of improving quality of skill development, it is through training of trainers, or even a model that we call as knowledge partnership. Any skill development partner who would like to, who is like-minded, who has the right intent, and would like to work with us for the courses that we have developed. 50 plus courses is what we have, which are developed in a blended learning model. Which are available as a we being a knowledge partner for an organization, implementation organization. We would train the trainers and also share the course for other organizations to adopt. Advocacy is the last lever. So these are all portfolio of work that we do, or portfolio of offerings that we have. In terms of what differentiates us or what are our strengths, I think one of the largest strengths that we have, just being part of the Tata Group and a social initiative within the group, is the blend of people that we have. A lot of us come from the corporate backgrounds, but there are quite equal number that come from deep experience in the social sector. That blend brings us a unique strength to create capabilities to solve complex problems, and thus take a position of thought leadership in this space. And there is a lot of complexity when it comes to skill development and bridging the gap between what the industry requires and the skills that are available in the youth. To bridge that gap, there are interesting innovations that we have started piloting and have been implementing right from the beginning, which has helped us craft partnerships with governments to work on unique and difficult or different issues, rather than working with the straitjacket scheme-based scale-up. That is not the position that we take. We work in creating newer solutions for the space to scale up. In terms of quality, we have created a framework that is based on Tata Business Excellence model to be able to measure, manage, and improve quality of work that happens in skill development space. We call it the Tata Skills Quality Framework, TSQF, and we deploy that across all our centers. We have a quality team that does that, and we track and manage quality of work that we do. Scaling up has been possible. Scale is an asset that we have today. We have a national footprint across various states and union territories. But right from the beginning, the thought that if we are creating something, we need to create a solution for scaling up across that can be scaled up, that can be replicable across different locations. And that approach has helped us bring in standards for the methods or processes, as well as standards for the curriculum and pedagogies that are delivered within our centers. Technology has played a critical role in this regard. Various solutions right from the beginning. Our first learner in 2015 was registered on our technology platform. The assessments happen on technology. The attendance is taken using facial recognition or biometrics, and that has helped us bring in the right level of transparency even when the partners adopt our processes, as well as placements that we do. Post placement, there is a call center that is manned by our employees who call up and track whether our learners have joined and how they are doing for a year after they have joined a particular job as well. So these are unique capabilities and unique strengths of our model. The other unique strength is we would not have been able to deliver what we have delivered if it was not for the partners that we work with. So across the last 7+ years, our partnership has spanned from various organizations within the Tata Group. The blue color numbers are number of partners that are there within the Tata Group and outside of the Tata Group as well. These partnerships that we have, our active partnerships, are across various different roles. The partners play different roles. Some partners are the ones who provide their subject matter expertise and knowledge for us to design, develop, and launch courses or labs. So the knowledge partnerships, when the partners play the role of industry knowledge partner. Technology partnerships are those that help us develop technologies and the solutions that I just spoke about. There are a number of partners who fund us. Every program that we deliver is on back of a funding that we raise through a funding partner. Large number of these are CSR funds. There are some other unique models through which we are also raising funds and delivering programs right now. The co-created co-certification and the courses that have been developed with partners as well. Faculty development, a lot of our partners help us develop faculty, and we develop faculty of various training partners as well. Or there are partners who provide us with facilities and equipment. Just a few names of partners to give you a sense of which are the organizations that we work with. There are various organizations, and this is just an indicative list. There are others who are not there in the list as well. In terms of any program that we have to scale up, any work that we have to scale up, we truly believe it will have to be on back of a partnership and work that we do with the government. Many states across our country, we are working with various government agencies or the skill mission or the societies that have been set up within every state or the state governments itself. There is a unique program called Dual VET, which we work with the state governments for all government ITIs, where we bring in the pedagogy of activity-based, project-based learning, as well as we bring industry close to the ITIs. And we believe that a deeper industry participation actually transforms the learning of the students. So that is active in 6 different states. But there are unique partnerships. The partnerships with the state of Odisha, the government of Odisha, where it is our faculty who is present in all government ITIs, delivering life skills for the ITI, but also helping ITI itself slowly and steadily transform by bringing in change in pedagogies, by bringing in change in approaches, as well as improving the type of projects that the learners are doing. So there are some unique initiatives that we have taken in the state of Odisha. Likewise, there are other partners across different states. Given the paucity of time, I'm not going to delve into the details of it, but a little more detail on what we do within the state of Maharashtra. There are, as you can see, we have various centers within the state, 3 large centers within Mumbai, Pune, and Nasik. There are smaller centers as well within the state that are present. And there are various colleges in which work that we do, courses that we have are offered. And there are partners who help us scale the work that we do as well. So there are other skill development partners who offer our courses within the state of Maharashtra. Apart from these formal or courses for jobs in the formal sector, We have an initiative for entrepreneurship that is there within the state, currently run within Pune and Nasik. We are looking forward to scaling up the work that we are doing in entrepreneurship, bringing in focus for women as well as students from ITIs and polytechnics. So that's something that we are working towards. Dual VET, I mentioned within the state of Maharashtra, various ITIs are now under the dual VET program. We are training the instructors and faculty of ITIs and the principals, as well as getting industry far closer to ITIs through the dual VET program. This is in partnership with Siemens. We are working and have worked over the years with the Social Justice Department, offering our skill development courses in the hostels that they operate. Especially started with Nagpur, but expanded into other districts of Maharashtra as well. DDU GKY is something that we are piloting, we are trying out. This is the only state in which we are trying out DDU GKY. Started a couple of years ago, but due to COVID, it went on the back burner. Now again, it is active. Currently within Nasik Center is where our DDU GKY program is active. But these are the various programs through which thousands of learners, as you can see, about nearly 10,000 learners have been impacted and placed within the state over the last 7 years. So those are the key updates or an overview of Tata Strive that I wanted to share. But in the closing, I must say that what few things that have truly differentiated our approach, or I think few things that have helped us scale and reach where we are. I think one is the deep participation and collaboration of various stakeholders with Tata Strive. If you look at it, be it the industry partners or the government agencies, the participation and collaboration has gone a long way across the value chain, across right from defining a course and developing the curriculum to reaching out to the communities or setting up infrastructure, as well as on the job training and doing guest lectures. So the deeper the industry collaboration, the better is the value delivered to our learners. The second is the blend of the corporate approach and the social sector approach that we have adopted right from the beginning at Tata Strive. Bringing in the right management practices has helped us scale, bringing the right technology, the right time, effort that we invested in designing the curriculum is what we have, what has also made us stand out or made our courses stand out as well. I think the third thing that excites us also is now that we are embarking on entrepreneurship also as a focused area. The new areas of focus, which includes entrepreneurship, which includes digital skills. In the last couple of years, we have started partnerships with the large organizations on the digital side of things as well, be it Amazon, be it Microsoft, LTI, and few other organizations have come forward, and we have teamed up with them. Even Google, there is a large program going on. So digital itself is an interesting area that will scale up in the coming days. Entrepreneurship being the other, and also SHGs is a large vehicle through which we can make a difference. We are starting taking baby steps in the SHG front as well. So exciting times ahead, and I look forward to any comments, any opportunities for collaboration or questions towards the end of this discussion. I thank FICCI for having me here. Deepak, back to you.
Mia, thank you. That was a great presentation, and what the might of Tata Group can do within eight years of period, I think, and I think it will grow multifold, whatever you are doing. So congratulations to you, and all the best. I think on the one thing before I take one or two comments from the chat, that I didn't find some of the allied sector skill councils which FICCI runs. So whether media and entertainment, capital goods, so probably those are the sector skill council where you may also consider collaborating and see, and I can probably connect my colleagues with you on that part, and in general as FICCI also what we can do with Tata Strive. The second thing, I think someone probably you can, if you wish to, you can just drop your email address, because some people may want to connect with you later on. Like one of the colleges saying that they are looking at some kind of collaboration in Rajasthan. or someone in chat, asking about that, how do, one have opportunity through CSR projects? If there are NGOs, how do you collaborate with them? So some of these things probably, if you want to answer, and maybe want to share any email address here for the benefit of participants, so that they can write to you and see that, their queries get addressed.
Sure. I've already shared my email address. Happy to.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah. Okay. And I think this one question, which is, they're talking about where do you source students from for these trainings, whatever trainings you do, so any specific selection criteria. So, I mean, you may just throw a light on it and then we move on.
So each course has its own criteria, prerequisite, depending on the education, depending on the depending on where the learner is and the interest that they have. So multiple factors that get into it. But the critical thing is, does the individual have the right interest and the inclination to do well in that career is one thing that we check over and above the stated qualification or prerequisite criteria. That is what we do in our counseling platform and the counseling approach that we have. But apart from that, I think what is important is also the fact that our focus on disadvantaged communities is also a critical dimension that we look at when we select learners that come to us.
Okay, great. Thank you for your time and presentation. I think it was a very interesting presentation, and some people would have certainly found that helpful and may connect with you. Great. So I'll move on. I think we are just a little bit running late, so I will just move on to our we have two more speakers, and both are probably will represent the tech startup kind of ecosystem and what they are doing in that. So I would first like to invite Mr. Dheeraj Ahuja, who's the member of FICCI Task Force on Digitalization and Skilling and founder and CEO of Skills Connect. He's a qualified chartered accountant and an experienced management professional with over 25 years of experience in both Indian and global MNCs from sectors such as insurance, BPO, K-12, vocational training and banking industry. And he recently turned entrepreneur and launched Skills Connect. So I think I'll leave it to Dheeraj to give us a little more about what Skills Connect is doing and what he thinks could be done to make this ecosystem stronger. So over to you, Dheeraj.
Thank you, Deepak, and thanks to all the panelists for sharing their insights. It's been really wonderful learning experiences so far. I've made my notes, and I think I'll be connecting with most of you after today. Dr. Leena and Amay, I think I'm already in touch, so I'll take it forward. Skills Connect is basically, we are building India's first retail distribution network, which basically is comprising of industrial training institutes, polytechnics, vocational training skill partners, colleges, and job consultants. Now, you may be thinking, what is this digital retail network is all about? So basically, if you understand all these people that I mentioned, they are either involved in training youngsters to acquire skills to become job ready, or they are helping, especially the job consultant category, so they are helping the youngsters to get into jobs. Now, in India, as we know, a large chunk of youngsters actually work in blue and gray collar, defined as, let's say, the starting level jobs in manufacturing, healthcare, and similar such vocations. And there is a small portion, a comparatively small portion, who goes into white collar jobs, which are classical, managerial and above kind of roles. Now, how is the Skills Connect trying to change or make an impact? We all know that when skilling completes at any vocational training center or an ITI, these people are then put into the process of getting into a job. And that's where the ITIs or polytechnic or vocational training partners, training and placement team, the placement team, they come into action. So they are supposed to hunt for employers for them. They're supposed to bring them to their campuses. They are supposed to conduct some sort of a job fair or a mela, or maybe do it one-on-one. And the whole process kind of fructifies in certain days or months time. And some folks get to apply for one job or two jobs, and then perhaps join and start their career. So this is typically what happens today. Now, Skills Connect is trying to change all that because, as we all know, India, the government of India is pushing a lot on digital, so that more and more of our business ecosystem become digital. They adopt to new technology solutions, and they improve their efficiencies and increase their output. So in that direction, SkillsNet has launched its platform, which is called Gazab Jobs. And this is basically a software or a platform as a service that we provide to all the ITIs, the polytechnics, the vocational training skill partners, the job consultants, so that they can actually launch their own private label jobs website. Now, you may think, what is a benefit of a job website for an ITI? Because they may be having their corporate website and they can use that as well. So what we have tried to do is to digitalize their placement division. What I mean by that simply is that now any ITI or any vocational training partner can have a dedicated jobs website in their own name. They can actually showcase jobs which are very relevant for their students after they are getting skilled, and then apply on their job website. Now the story doesn't end here, because you can obviously see that we have hit the first problem or challenge out of the park, because you need not look for employers. Skills Connect brings those employers to you. So you just need to use those jobs, add to your platform, and it's visible to the entire students community to look and apply. The second challenge they used to face is, how do they receive applications? Now, because you have your own job website filled with jobs, the student can simply apply on one job or two jobs or as many jobs as they believe are suitable for their skills and their career plan. And then obviously you give more options, opportunities to students. It is not just one or two companies, many companies now. That second challenge overcome. The third challenge, how do they check whether who's responsible or who's eligible, who is not eligible for a job? So when these applications are put into the system by the students while applying, the training and placement team actually can see their applications, and they can filter, they can screen, they can guide the students on each of their job application, so that the only most eligible and the most interested student for a particular job actually goes through. So what it does is, it creates a very high quality pipeline of candidates for employers. Deepak, your screen is frozen. Am I audible? Is it at my end or is it at your end? Am I audible?
Audible. You are audible.
Okay, Amaya, thank you so much. So it creates a very easy process for the ITIs and the vocational training skill centers to screen their candidates, which means that the left out candidates which are good and eligible, they only are handed over to the employers, which is working with us. So it creates a very strong and a very efficient funnel for the employers, because earlier, if they were getting 100 applications, they would find only 1 and 2 joining. But with this, our process, they're finding as high as 10 to 20 people joining. So they're very excited, because the whole journey of a candidate is being taken care of right at the source, where they are getting skilled, they are getting screened, or they are actually being guided to apply, and they are getting screened. And once this journey ends, where a person is joining any employer, that entire information is basically updated onto the platform, and that rejection, or let's say the joining information, is visible to everyone. Everyone means the job seeker, the training institute, and of course, us as who's managing the platform from behind. So all the stakeholders knows exactly what is happening in the journey of the candidate. Now, this suddenly, the whole system has been turned on its head, because till now, there are only traditional 1 or 2 way of a candidate passing out of a ITI or a vocational training center to find and get a job. One, of course, the institute themselves try and organize some sort of opportunities through job fair or mela. The second is, of course, they follow the herd mentality of going where their friends are going, or maybe they go to some sort of a online job platform where they apply for a job, but then we all know pretty much nothing happens after that. They might get an odd call here and there, but then they're not guided properly. They don't know what's going to happen next. So it's a big black hole. So we are changing all this by going right at the source and implanting this platform and giving this power to the institute themselves or a job consultant themselves, so that they can now start influencing the life of the candidate in a much more efficient and a digital manner. So if you have understood that, what benefit it is bringing to the table for both the institute and the job seeker and the employer, now let me share what happens next. Now, once this person is on the platform and he's applied and he's got a job, now the training institute, as we all know, is always keen on driving more and more ambition, driving more and more skilling. So we are empowering them with functionalities, engagements, tools, so that they can be in touch with these candidates and influence their decision to upskill themselves or cross-skill themselves, so that it is not just the job that they have applied that they have to work on. They actually can improve their job position as well by upskilling. They can even shift industry if they have found this industry or this kind of a job, not worthwhile enough. They can get cross-skilled and move to a different industry as well. So till now, it used to be very difficult for them to, take these decisions because that information was not available. But by virtue of this platform, now these institute partners of ours will be able to, effectively communicate what all opportunities are coming in the industry, so that they can inform their students, their alumni, that there are many more courses that you can do. There are upskilling courses that you can undergo and improve your job conditions, improve your salary conditions, etc. And it doesn't stop here, by the way, because we all know that in our country, the youth population, the demographic dividend that we have been blessed with as a country is very ambitious. So they do want to do more in their lives or with their lives. They want to grow, they want to enjoy, they want to travel, they want to study more, of course. So how do they do it if, let's say, their salary is at a certain level? So we have also decided and are enabling our training institutes to further help them in their financial inclusion goals, which means if they want some sort of a loan, if they want some sort of an investment opportunities, so even they can be guided, because if they start earning salary, they need to be, counseled that how do they manage their money. So basically, what we are trying to do is one platform getting, let's say, impregnated at a certain institute. That platform will drive many initiatives or by the institute for the student, so that the career growth, the career management can be well managed, and subsequently the chances of the success for the student in the job, in life, they can be offered from time to time by this institute who actually has initiated their career journey. So Skills Connect is our endeavor to digitalize this entire ecosystem of training and skilling and education organizations, who today are using some sort of a manual way of imparting education or helping them to become fully digital and participate in the growth journey for the students, as well as their own journey, because if they're able to do more, deliver more, it's very logical that their business also will grow, which means that they will be able to now cater to much larger audiences than what they are doing today, including online education delivery, assessments, jobs, financial inclusion, insurance, and better jobs over the career life cycle of the student. So this is, in a nutshell, Skills Connect is doing with its unique technology product, Gazab Jobs, in the industrial training institutes, polytechnic, vocational training skill centers, and job consulting ecosystem. Happy to answer any question if there are any from panelists or the audiences. Over to you, Deepak.
Thank you very much, Dheerajji. I think very interesting concept, and I think I'm sure there will be many takers as you were trying to explain that the scope is quite unique, and it helps a lot of students to be focused and not go here and there. It's really great initiative, and I'm sure it will grow as it comes to the sort of knowledge of like-minded people and people who are in the skilling ecosystem. So I appreciate you presenting us your new, the platform which you are building for the betterment of employment, for the betterment of skilling ecosystem.
Just 10 second.
Thank you very much. So,
yeah. 10 second
yes, please.
Additional information. Dr. Leena doing great kind of work in ITIs in Maharashtra, and as part of the PPP agenda of this particular webinar, we have actually signed up with the state of Maharashtra, the DVET, Director of Vocational Education and Training, and we are already in the process of digitalizing over 1,000 ITIs in the state across 6 regions of theirs. So I am 100% sure, in the next 2 to 3 quarters, you will see a massive improvement in the ratio of employment being meted out to all the students of ITIs in Maharashtra. And Dr. Leena, I'll be, intersecting the road somewhere because she's also managing at least 11 to 20 ITIs as I understand. So we'll be learning a lot from her as well. Thank you.
That's really great. I think that's a good initiative, and I think this will certainly benefit. I think state government has been extremely proactive, and I'm sure they will be able to take benefit of this platform. Thank you very much for that information. Now, moving on, I would like to invite our last speakers, another a tech sort of initiated platform who will demonstrate what they are doing. We have Mr. Gerald Pereira, who has over 20 years of experience of sustained high performance in operations and business development across electronics, retail, hospitality, and real estate sector, and has held leadership position at large Indian business groups such as Tata Group, Piramil Group, Videocon. Currently, Mr. Pereira is the CEO of Empowero, an edtech SaaS platform for e-learning, skill institutes and test prep institute to deliver instructor-led structured e-learning to their students. So over to you, Mr. Pereira.
Thank you. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay, great. Thanks. It's a privilege to be here with such esteemed panelists. Thank you, FICCI. Thank you, Mr. Mukhi. I'm going to very quickly share a screen and talk about Empowero and the company. Just a minute. Yeah, I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, it is.
Great. Yeah, so thank you everybody for the time. I'll try in the interest of time, make this quick and walk you through. So basically, I work with a company called SkillPro, and as the name suggests, we've been in the skill ecosystem for quite a while. We're not really a startup, so to speak. We're more, I would call it a scale up. We've been in the space since 2008, right? So as you can see, over this period of time, we've impacted, and when I say impacted, it's different forms of impact, but more than 300,000 people who would like to call learners. And so these learners could be, through instructor-led training in, traditional programs, like the DDU GKYs, the MEPMAs, the NULM type of programs, etc. It could be at client sites, where we've done training and skilling or upskilling at training at client sites. It's also, at learning institutions, right? So we also empower, or we've also been doing work at ITIs, also of late in, in the other forms of education during, the pandemic, right? So that's our background. So we have a deep understanding of this space. Our focus is on frontline workers, and I would typically call them blue collar, right? So that's really where we focused on. Again, here, we've spent a lot of time, so we understand them. We understand, the pedagogical approach to learning for blue collar workers, very, very different from that of, traditional students who go on to formal education, right? Many of these people are from, smaller towns. They're marginalized. They're forced into roles that sometimes are not ideally suited to them. So we need to understand their sort of learning gaps, and then this is where we we've worked very, very deeply, right? And as Mr. Mukhi said, I mean, I've been in industry and been a big believer in tech enablement. Technology is the native to almost every aspect of our life. And so we thought, in addition to learning, which is e-learning and, the formal e-learning, it's important to bring in an e-skilling solution, which is what I would like to say we are. We started on this path in 2016. Along the way, Microsoft saw us. They liked what we were doing. And so now we are sort of a partner with Microsoft. So we run a lot of our technology in collaboration with them, right? As I said, Empowro is the name of our platform. We work across 3 broad segments. We work in enterprise, we work in education, and we work in skills. Here, I'll talk more about the skills, though, I mean, there is some amount of overlap between enterprise and skills, right? Education, of course, is being, traditional digital enablement of learning institutes, publishers, et cetera, right? And in enterprise, as you can see, we do the upskilling, the reskilling, where we sort of embed ourselves with corporates, and then they use our technology to better engage, better enhance, better upskill, their distributed workforce. As I said, focus is on the front line, so typically blue stroke gray collar workers, right? And in skills, when you say skills, it's sort of CSR projects that we run. We do it off late with technology to aid, so that there's visibility of the impact that's happening, which is in my view been a big question mark for CSR projects in the past that we also have done. We could very rarely demonstrate in very in granular terms the impact. Yeah. So moving forward, everybody's spoken about and in different forms, but let me try and throw what the problem statement is. And I think I mean, I'm going to go out on a limb and say I sometimes feel that skills, though a greater requirement because of the absolute numbers of people who are not going into formal education or higher education beyond school, so would have to drop out of school because of financial compulsions, sometimes feel that skills is a bit of a stepchild to education, when in reality it should actually be at par or be on an equal footing, right? And the problem statement is very simple. I mean, that India is a large country. Frankly, the largest unmet need is in the most remote areas, because quality education doesn't reach there. Maybe even ITIs and other vocation doesn't reach there, and that's really where the gap is, right? Secondly, it's there's no capacity building in training. There are trainers, but there is always a shortage of trainers. And where this unmet need is, right? So if you were running a program, let's say in some Maoist affected areas or infested areas of, let's say, in Odisha or wherever else, you're not going to get good quality trainers to come there and train people. So it's the quality, and therefore, and also for that matter, the quantity that is missing, right? Then again, the vocational training, from our experience, is not fully aligned to what industry needs are. I mean, I've sat on the other side of the table, and I've worked with many of the sector skill councils. My last role, heading a mobile handset vertical for one of the Indian so-called consumer electronics companies. I used to keep getting people from the telecom sector skill council with all intent of hiring them, but they could never match up to what my actual requirements were, and that so that industry connect is missing, right? And it's getting bridged, and it's better and better with the apprenticeship programs, and of course big groups jumping in like Bharat Forge and Tata's, of course, who I have great respect for, and but the issue is that it still does exist. And last, of course, lots of initiatives. All of you all are doing phenomenal jobs, but I mean, there's a lot. We are just at the sort of tip of the iceberg. I mean, there's a lot more to go, and a long way to go in the skill ecosystem, right? To really get India to where it needs to be if we are to be, a sort of a developed nation, right? Why a great believer in technology? It's the obvious. I mean, frankly, through technology, you bring in quality and training delivery. So you get a master trainer, you get, subject matter expert. You can't expect them to be everywhere at the same time. It's impossible. And so by capturing them, recording them, and making that high quality content or learning accessible anytime, anywhere, irrespective of where the geography may be, is extremely important. Secondly is the stickiness of learners. We've seen that. We've done programs with, We actually did, sort of blended learning programs with the government of Andhra Pradesh, even well before COVID even turned, a forced digital adoption, right? And we saw that, learners, even if they're from, impoverished backgrounds, they may not even have their own smartphone, but somewhere in the family there is one smartphone. That self-learning, that eagerness to learn remains. And so, once they see and once they get hooked, there's that stickiness to keep. Attendance was higher. Dropouts were much fewer, and that's really where technology plays a role. In fact, we call it the ABC generation, even of in skills, which is basically apps, Bollywood, and cricket, right? And so even learning has to happen on the apps today. Third is, of course, you can measure impact. It's very clear. It's a digital thumbprint. Who's learning, what is the progress. There's more timely intervention, and of course, and therefore, you can. People can be held accountable for the spends, especially CSR and other spends that are being thrown towards this or thrown in this direction. Last but not the least is better industry connect. As I said earlier, there was that gap, and we've actually seen when we were running this program that people who were hiring from us came and saw that we were doing a far better job than the traditional method, and they said, like, listen, we'll give you our content, because every company has some content on, let's say, onboarding or induction. They said, so they said, we'll give you our content, you embed it into the program, and then we'll take this entire batch of, whether it was electricians or sewing machine operators or whatever else that we were doing in that particular program, right? And so this is really where technology is a great enabler. Again, this is not e-learning, this is e-skilling. So it's a blended approach where in vocational skills, which is what we focus on, there's always going to be hands-on or on-the-job training, or in the lab or job role labs, right? But this supplements or augments it by bringing in a more holistic approach, right? And so, yeah, it's quite obvious out here, blended learning is far better than traditional classroom learning, because it's you still have access to instructor-led training in the classroom, but then it's easier to scale, right? So you're not dependent on live teachers. If they're not available, you can always, or the best in class teachers if they're not available. It's multidimensional, right? One of the biggest takeaways that we saw in some of these programs that we've done was that people said, yes, we're learning the so-called hard skill or the vocational or the functional skill in class. But when we watch and learn, what we're actually seeing is we are also understanding the soft skills and the softer nuances that go with those hard skills when we deliver a job, right? Or when we work in a job. Think of it, many of these candidates have never seen a cafe coffee day, leave alone see a Taj hotel or even a Fortune hotel or whatever else it may be. And then you expect them to go and fit in there and then sort of stick out there, right? And so this form of learning brings better job preparedness and bridges that gap, right? And then of course it's self-paced, right? Sitting in classroom doesn't mean you're learning, and that we've seen very deeply, even now during COVID. People, in schools, children are distracted. They're on YouTube while live learning is going on, while school is going on. You can't expect people to have infinite attention spans, and so it's bite-sized learning, and then being able to access what was taught in the classroom, but you never understood or comprehended anytime, anywhere at self-paced. And this need not be only through their own devices. It could be at the IT labs in training centers. It could be through tablets that some governments have given. But blended learning, in our view, is really the way forward, right? This is what we do we work, as I said, with corporates to help them upskill, build better engagement. Money is not the motivating factor in many cases for attrition in the gig economy, right? We've done a lot of work. We've worked with thousands of workers. The first is respectability. I think, when we ask them what is the most important thing that you'll want to learn, number one was English. You can see that's shot out there, right? On the right-hand side. English was number one. Number two was basic IT skills. Every blue-collar person aspires to be white-collar, right? And so for him, white-collar is English, IT. That opens avenues of or opportunities for better, career progression, so to speak, right? So one is, of course, they want respect, right? They want upskilling. right? They want to self, develop rather than, just having to do this functional training and all that. Let's say maybe they get by way of the, organizations. And I'm glad to say that many organizations that we work with are now thinking beyond just the functional and, the absolute, job specific training to be more inclusive, to help these people self-develop for, for growth, whether within their organization or beyond, right? We've also been doing a lot of work in CSR. We've got many more partners who, after seeing what we are doing, starting to approach us, and we'd love to work with some of you all out there. So for example, this was for underprivileged students in Maharashtra, right? I mean, why should only the privileged have access to 4.0 classes, right? Or 4.0 skills, whether it's robotics or whatever else. This was a program that we did with Robotics, which is an international, I think a UK-based company, and they came to us, and using CSR funds, we reached out using our platform and their content to underprivileged students in Maharashtra. That's an ongoing program as we speak, and of course, they want to ramp it up into other states as well, right? So some thoughts. I mean, one is, like I said, I mean, industry, in addition to just funding, should also commit trainers. I mean, the biggest gap today is quality of trainers. Skills is not an aspirational, at least vocational skills is not aspirational, and we need to make it aspirational, and we need to bring in quality trainers from industry who can, who can then value add. I mean, because otherwise there will always be this, industry saying, oh, people don't meet our requirements. There's always this gap, and it will continue to be there unless industry themselves jump in. And this is at a global level. This is not specific to any companies, but I mean, this is the global level. More and more people need to get engaged. Number two is industry alignment with the new education policy, right? I mean, I think it's great, but again, it's talking about, like digital skills and 4.0 skills and all of that. Frankly, I think, for lack of a better way, I think the 1.0 skills that are missing. I mean, many of the people that I meet at ITIs and, schools, etc., maybe, and I think somebody else may mention this point, are very, very well equipped on the theoretical or the technical aspect. But when it comes to sitting for an interview, when it comes to communication, when it comes to grooming, when it comes to, just work, I mean, just sort of workplace, skills, okay, they lack them, right? And unless that is brought in along with, or even financial literacy, I think one of the biggest things that we see missing today is financial literacy. I mean, all these gig economy workers are earning, and some of them reasonably well, at least earlier. Now things are scaling down because everybody's under pressure. But the point is that what do you do with your money? I don't see enough happening in that space. It's happening in pockets, but it has to happen at a far, far larger scale. And this is all very, very important and should be part of the new education policy. Because again, from stats, I don't know whether it's FICCI or CII or somebody I was reading, but only about 30% of these people graduating from school are going into formal or higher, not formal, but higher education, right? A lot of them will turn 18 and need jobs without going through higher education. So they'll go through vocational skills or technical skills, but they lack, deeply on the soft skills and all the other aspects that help them turn, better employable. So it's not only an employment issue or job, it's also about the employability of many people that are questioned, right? And then, of course, I think the biggest gap today is that, it's all the big groups that have access to technology and everything else. But, I mean, we are a small small company, and we realize how we have to struggle at times, right, to sort of, get our voice out there. And I'm sure that, India, unless India turns a manufacturing country, right, it'll never get to where it has to be by way of development. I mean, if you see most of the biggest or the more well-developed countries in the world, whether it's Germany, whether it's Korea, whether it's Japan, or for that matter, even China, are all, very heavily oriented towards manufacturing. And India, with technology kicking in and, not increasing jobs, but it's important that the smaller industries start to, I mean, you need to get multi-baggers from the, the smaller guys to grow. And for that, they need access to, quality, training, quality people, which, they tend to sort of miss at the bottom of the pyramid. Yeah. So, yeah, I guess thank you once again, everybody, for this opportunity. Happy to take any questions. I know I ran a little fast, but there was more to, in the interest of time. Thanks, Mr. Mukhi.
I'm looking at it if there is any comments or questions for you. But I think one thing you have very good way, the problem statement which you had in the beginning put out, it's actually the reality in many parts, and that needs to be really looked into. And one of the reasons that we keep on doing these kind of advocacy program is that as well, that one needs to see, that some of the problem areas are only kind of talked about, but not really into. And I mean, the industry and the connect on the skill side, and especially the providing the trainers, all these things have been talked about, but somehow we having the solutions as much as we would probably like to see. And hence our role as a facilitator with all of you is to see that more of our members actually come on board. They take up programs which are beneficial from both sides, not only from the the student side, but as well as from their own sake. And while you and I like the last slide, because we discussed this in our last program in MSME weekend. Couple of speakers were here in that program as well. That MSMEs really do not get more competitive actually in the market, and without that it is not going to sort of happen. So these are some of the areas which we also have been trying to pursue with policymakers and others, and we hope, I think we can't say there's no improvement. There has been a lot of improvement. There has been a lot of talk about how do we connect more with industry to see that the courses which are being developed or implemented are industry relevant, and not just for the sake of being put there because they have some kind of usability in some part of the world. So that is the approach probably is going away. A lot of focus is coming up, and you all are working with I primarily work with state government here in Maharashtra, so we all are working with them, and would see those changes. So I think we are in good space in a sense that we can certainly bring a lot of improvement in this ecosystem, and see that the challenge and inside I got disconnected. Can you hear me?
I think, I don't know whether it's my network, but I think you're coming in bits and parts. So maybe there's some network issues.
I'm so sorry. Anyways, I think I who participated in today's program. Very good, relevant, great presentations, great ideas. Industry should do, and what government should do is also very helpful. So I would like to thank everyone from both all our speakers, all our delegates who participated here and on YouTube. enjoying this program, and I'm sure that this will somewhere help. And I think most of you have dropped. If you have not, any speakers, if they have not dropped their email address, maybe they can drop in the chat box so that people can get sort of connected with you and see that they explore collaboration opportunities after hearing all of you here. So if I think my internet is creating some problem. I'm so sorry. And if everyone can hear me, I would like to thank all my speakers again, and then all the delegates, and hope that we can, have more of these kind of discussions in future as well. These are very, very, useful for our own internal purposes when we do any kind of representation to government and try to give input on policy and new activities or new initiatives. These all come behind.
कौन बोल रहा है?
So thank you very much for all of your patience.
Thank you.
Hello.
Thank you very much. Pleasure.
अच्छा 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 हाँ ठीक है